this video on writing a simple sentence. I'm Heather McQuinney, and I am co-presenting this video with Martin Boucher.
Hi everyone.
Here are the learning outcomes we have for this video. By the end of it, you'll be able to define and identify the components of a simple sentence and also write effective simple sentences.
So what exactly is a simple sentence? Is it a sentence that is uncomplicated?
Well, a simple sentence is a particular type of sentence, but just because the term includes the word simple doesn't mean that the sentence is easy or uncomplicated. A simple sentence is a sentence that has one independent clause. Martin, do you remember any of your grammar from school?
Well, maybe a little.
Well, then you might remember what an independent clause is.
Okay, as far as I can remember, an independent clause has one subject and one verb.
Well, you're really close there. An independent clause has at least one subject and one verb. An independent clause also expresses a complete thought, so it can stand alone. In other words, this type of clause doesn't need to be attached to another clause to sound complete. Martin, can you think of an example of an independent clause?
Sure. Let me think. How about Heather's talking?
Well, thanks, Martin. Heather is talking. Okay. This sentence is an independent clause because it has at least one subject and one verb and can stand alone as a sentence. Let's identify the grammatical subject.
I remember from school that a subject can be a person, place, thing, or idea. The subject must be Heather.
Right, it's Heather. How about the verb?
Well, that would be is talking.
Right again. A verb is a word or group of words that describes an action, state, or happening. The verb is talking describes what Heather, the subject, is doing. So in this sentence, we have a subject and a verb. Heather is talking is an independent clause and a simple sentence. Let's look at some other examples.
I run almost every morning. Every morning in good weather, I run for about an hour. Every morning in good weather, my friend and I run for about an hour. On weekends, we often stop and have a coffee and a muffin to reward ourselves for our hard work. In good weather, I run across the Broadway Bridge in front of the Bessborough Hotel along the Meewasin Trail as far as the railway bridge and back home on the other side of the river, with sometimes a stop for coffee along the route. Are these all simple sentences?
Yes, they are.
But that last sentence seems long for a simple sentence, Heather.
Well, actually, a simple sentence can be quite long. And that's because you can add any number of modifiers and still have a simple sentence. A modifier is a word or phrase that describes, clarifies, or qualifies another word or group of words. Modifiers are often adjectives and adverbs. Adjectives are descriptive words applied to nouns such as blue car or big house. And adverbs are descriptive words applied to verbs, such as unfortunately, I missed the bus, or I waited patiently. You can also have adjective or adverb phrases that modify other words.
Remind me what a phrase is?
A phrase is a group of words that can't stand alone as a sentence because it lacks a subject or a verb or both. Many phrases start with prepositions like in and to, but others consist of mainly nouns or verbs.
So that last sentence is long because it has lots of phrases.
Right, all these are modifying phrases explaining when, where, and how you run. In good weather, in front of the Bessborough Hotel, along the Meewasin Trail, as far as the railway bridge, back home on the other side of the river, and with sometimes a stop for coffee along the route.
Heather, do you think this sentence has too many phrases?
Yes, I do actually. As well, notice that many of these phrases are of similar length and start with a preposition, so they just seem to go on and on. But using phrases in simple sentences isn't always a bad thing. You can sometimes insert phrases and even single words at the beginning of sentences to add variety to a string of sentences that otherwise would all start with the subject. For example, I'd argue that these two simple sentences sound a bit boring because they have the same structure: subject, verb, phrase. Robins make their first nest in mid-May. They sit on their eggs for about 2 weeks. If you move the phrase "in mid-May" to the front of the first sentence, you vary the sentence structure a little, and the passage sounds less boring. So listen. In mid-May, robins make their first nest. They sit on their eggs for about 2 weeks.
Yeah, I see that. I have one other question. Can a simple sentence have more than one subject and verb? I notice that the second sentence on this slide has two subjects, my friend and I. And the third has two verbs, stop and have.
Yes. A simple sentence can have more than one subject and verb, but the subject and verbs have to be connected. We call them compound subjects and verbs, as they work together in an independent clause and are usually joined by and. You'd still have a simple sentence if you wrote something like this: Martin and Heather are talking and making a video. Our compound subject is Martin and Heather, and our compound verb is talking and making.
Okay, I get it.
So having several verbs in a sentence, I'd argue, is a good thing, because the more verbs you have, the more engaging your sentence. The problem with long, simple sentences with lots of phrases is that they often contain very few verbs and so can be dull to read. For example, let's take a look at these sentences. Are they simple sentences?
Let me see. The subject of the first one is the documentation of different initiation dates of ice on freshwater lakes during the melt of lake ice in spring. The verb is can be achieved. So yes, this is a simple sentence, as you have only one independent clause.
You're right, it is a simple sentence, but I'm sure you'd agree it is tedious to read. The sentence is dull because it has too many phrases and only one verb. Let's look at the second one.
In this simple sentence, the subject is the evolution of human behaviors through the adaptation of people to the new and changing conditions of hydrological systems due to climate change. Whew, that's long. The verb is much shorter, suggests.
And this type of simple sentence with a long subject is actually used a lot in academic writing. I'd say when writing simple sentences, avoid long subjects and make these sentences fairly short. It's okay to use one or two phrases in a simple sentence, but not too many. Vary your sentence structure by combining simple sentences with other types of sentences, such as compound, complex, and compound complex. Using a blend of sentence types will improve your flow and engage your readers.
To sum up, then, a simple sentence is one independent clause. An independent clause must have at least one subject and verb and must be able to stand alone as a sentence. Some simple sentences are long and dull because they contain a lot of phrases and few verbs. It is best to limit the length of your simple sentences.